Welcome to the Arctic Circle. It's your host, Peter Kim.
And this is Unji Kim.
Unji, you truly, it looks like I'm interviewing an Inuit, like, a meteorologist or something.
Yeah,
You look
like
crazy right now.
Like on the street, I'm outside. This is like for those of you who have been with the Ajima show before all of this. I record in my garden in the basement, and this is like a different HVAC unit, and it's always broken, so there is no heat in this unit right now. And you know, if you're unfamiliar with the news, it's been negative like 5 today. It's kind of balmy, it's 5 degrees, but it's still like in here it's
Ooh.
That's right,
It's minus.
It's a minus.
We're surrounded by like stone and brick, so it's uninsulated. You're making me feel cold. I'm in Los Angeles. It's 64 degrees, and I'm like, my nipples are hard.
There's been a bit of a breeze. Yeah.
Chua. You know, like, but you're really making me feel ice cold. Anyway, welcome back to Two Kims One Pod. We're gonna make this episode quick because you're freezing. I could tell you're freezing.
I'm
like,
cold. I'm wearing long.
Cold.
I know. I'm not cold. It's like because I'm wearing long underwear. I'm wearing like I'm dressed. I knew I was coming down. I knew I was coming to podcast.
I'm impressed.
Yes.
Yeah.
I knew I was coming to podcast, so you know I wore my long underwear, and I'm ready. It's just
she's used to it by now. We've been doing it for 7 years. She got it now. You got it down.
I got it down.
Podcasting in the eye of the storm of climate change. Here we are. Like, what the fuck are we even doing? All right.
I know. I'm prepared. It's just my extremities are sort of like, feeling it.
Yeah. They look purple. So let's wrap this up quick. And for anyone in the Midwest being blanketed by this craziness, I'm so sorry. But I also heard a friend of mine was supposed to go out to Portland, Oregon, and then they shut down all the airports up there because it was negative 18 or whatever the fuck. Like we're getting a huge swath. I mean, I feel so lucky to be here. I mean,
honestly, like this is the thing.
Feel
I mean,
amazing.
I've been a Chicagoan most of my life, right? And for me, there's a couple of days that are like this every year. Come on down to the Great Lakes. This is where it's going to be before the coasts fall into the sea. Come join us in the middle of the country while the infrastructure crumbles around us, and we enjoy mild, moderate temperatures until there's 1 week it's like this. And you know what? Like you put on some.
That's great.
Yeah, I'm hardy.
Get a parka and come on down.
That's right. That's right.
I'll
I'm
meet
hardy.
you there once our coastline rapidly disappears through the immense tsunamis. I'll see you over there.
Come on in. The water's cold. And and the weather's always like this for like a week or two. You put on your long underwear, you put on a brave face, you stop being a pussy and you go out. I mean, it's fun.
Are you going outside?
Yeah, I've been outside.
Are people going to shows?
Yes.
Packed. I heard Tina Fey and Amy's show had under 20% because of the weather in Portland.
In Portland? Portland. Yeah, because those people. Yeah. They're not used to it.
Chicagoans.
You put on your long underwear.
You're going out to do 5 minutes.
That's right. And I'm nutting up. And all these people are coming out. Shows have been packed, sold out.
Wow.
Every single comedy club in the city. Laugh Factory last night. Record lows. 40 people, 50 people in the audience. Tuesday show.
Incredible. That's incredible.
That's what I'm saying. Sold out at the Lodge this weekend. Sold out.
Wow. Incredible. You're so lucky. Don't ever leave.
Truly,
all right. I was gonna do a Patreon today as part of the episode, but we got to move on to tops and bottoms. Let's go.
Absolutely. Oh god.
All right. So my top this week is that my white family is in town.
Ooh.
Meaning Eric's brother, sister-in-law, and the 2 kids are in town.
Oh, you love these kids. Yeah.
I love these kids, and they love me, and they really are like super good kids. Mm-hmm. You know how you talked about how my dog was such a good dog?
Yes.
And it made you want dogs?
Yes.
That's these kids.
Wow.
These kids make me want another dog. No, I'm these kids are really like stellar children. And I know like all kids are great, whatever. But when kids
Sure.
are actually like good,
Uh-huh.
like they don't look at phones or screens. They sit and engage in conversation. I'm like, what the hell is happening? Like they're not distracted. They're not bored.
Right.
They're sitting around noticing things in my house and asking questions. I'm like, what? These kids are cool.
Are
So,
they?
like,
Are the
I know.
parents like very anti-screen? They're like anti.
They're not on their phones.
Okay.
So when the
Wow.
parents aren't on the phones,
What do
the
they do?
children are like, why would we be on the phone?
Are these
They
vegans?
talk.
They're vegans. What is it? What's going on? What's going on with their family?
Homeschooling. Yeah, I know. But here's what. This girl, the niece,
Yeah.
just won a gymnastics. She just made it to state. Okay? They're all like ahead of their class as in reading.
Sure.
They're reading like 3 grades above their, like these kids are going to places and reading placards. Like nerds. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
dweebs. I love these kids. Like they're just smart and cool and
But wait, why are they?
inquisitive.
So what are their parents do? If the one of them is just staying home and teaching these kids,
Staying home, teaching, massage therapy.
And
the other one
is-
does logistics for trucks and some kind of like logistics types thing.
so they're
Yeah.
like homesteaders. They're
No,
like trad.
he works a regular job. He just works a regular job and she works from home. It's just like Midwest ass fuck.
That's
you know
this
what
is
I
not
mean? Like
Midwest
Minnesota.
as fuck. This is not homeschooling. Do they grow their own
Homeschools.
gray? Do they grow their own grain? Are they vegan?
Not vegan. We ate a lot of pork last night. So like the kids aren't like I don't eat. They eat everything.
Sure.
I took them to a Korean restaurant and
Yeah.
they ate literally every type of pickle.
Yeah.
Every type of new thing. Like
Sure.
they're like, I want to try it.
Uh-huh.
I'd like to try that. Just really like I don't remember kids being like this. Like I grew up with a lot of kids who are picky. Very like, I don't want to eat that. Ew, that tastes weird. This texture's odd. Like these kids are like me, like
Yeah.
very adventurous eaters. They love to travel to learn. They're like, they want to learn about other cultures and things.
But how
Like
old are
it's
they?
just like
How old are they?
9 and 7.
Do they have other friends their age?
Yeah. They have like a whole community of kids they hang out with. that are
Of
also
other
homeschooled.
homeschooled. Okay.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
I mean-
the whites. This is what makes me think that the whites know something. You know what I mean? The number of white people that I know that are dropping their kids out of public school and choosing to do this homeschooling. What do they know?
I mean, truly, at first, I was like, "Are you crazy?"
They
'Cause
are.
I met them when before the younger kid was even born.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And for me, jury's still out because maybe I don't want to do it, but this bitch is doing a good job.
Of course.
Like these kids are smart.
Yeah.
They are empathetic.
Mm-hmm.
They are crafty, self-reliant. They're adventurous eaters. Like it's just like
You're really putting a
just
lot of
good-
priority on the adventure.
I mean, that
eating.
really says a lot. That says a lot about how a child is reared. I think.
I
is-
agree, but I have an adventurous eater. My son eats everything and is not picky.
Right. Isn't that so amazing?
Yes,
Isn't that an incredible thing?
but I don't know if it's like
Do you know his friends that are picky eaters?
I do.
How awful is that?
It's very annoying.
around.
It's very
Yes.
annoying.
This is what I'm talking about. I think
But I don't know if it's necessarily
adventurous
the-
eating alone. Do you think that's a personality thing or that's a reared
This is
thing?
what I'm saying. I don't think it's as much around weirdness. Because, there's some people that
That's
are
not a parental thing? Listen, here's why I think it is. Because my The people in my family that are adventurous eaters
Yeah.
were beaten into that. Okay?
Yes.
And this is a generational thing. I'm not saying it should happen now. Calm
Yeah.
down, YouTube. I'm saying in our generation, whatever that translates to now, like submitting your child to this
This is
type
what I'm
of
saying.
openness.
But we cannot be beaten. You can't beat.
Not beat. Whatever beat is now. What
I'm
is
not
now?
beating.
Like
I'm not beating.
bribe? What are you doing? Bribing?
No bribing. What do you mean?
What'd you do?
This is the food that you're eating. You're gonna go hungry or you're gonna eat this.
Oh, so you're giving him you're giving him no choice.
Yeah. This is
That's
food.
the same thing. That's the same thing. But there are see, this is going to be a tricky area because I also know there's no right way to parent. That's as a non-parent, I don't know what it means to parent. What I will say as a non-parent that has to deal with your kids, some of y'all are doing better than the others. That's all.
I don't know if it's rearing.
That's all I'm saying.
I don't know if it's the rearing because some kids are just. Because Peter, I was a picky eater. My husband was a picky eater, and now neither of us are. My son is never been a picky eater. I think some of it is just like 성격. Like,
were you allowed to be a picky eater?
I mean, it's not like my mom gave me different things. I just didn't eat the thing that was in front of me, and I would get yelled at.
That was not a choice for me. I had to eat it.
Yeah, no, I mean, like sometimes I would be forced to eat it, sure, but I was not. I was a very picky.
You weren't
eater.
happy about it.
Yes. So I just didn't eat stuff. I mean, like it was always like a fight, and like because no malaso, like whatever, you know what I mean, like.
And what was the pickiness?
I don't
didn't
know.
like the taste, the texture.
Yeah, because
or you liked what you like.
You know, I realize this now, but I am like sort of allergic to some stuff. Like, persimmons.
Well, that's different. That's different, of course.
No, but in my mind,
if it's like bad reaction.
But no, but I didn't
it's a bad
realize.
reaction.
I just thought that was just like how it tasted. It never occurred to me that I was allergic. So I just didn't like it.
Oh, interesting. Like a cilantro situation.
Yes, I just like this tastes
cilantro
bad.
soap situation.
And I'll just eat it, and it's like, oh, that's what it tastes like. It gives me like a hairy tongue.
Okay, that's unfair. If it's like an actual thing that's happening, then I understand why you don't want to put it in your mouth. Like
But
a
I
cilantro
still would
thing.
eat it.
I understand.
would eat it.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect a cilantro soap kid to be like, yeah, I'll do it. Like that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are kids who just won't eat things and just won't like, because I don't want to, or like I only like cheese and whatever. Like there's a lot of kids that are being given the privilege to choose their food.
Do you think immigrant kids are like this? Because this is the thing. I thought that no immigrant kids would be like this, but I have since met immigrant kids that are like that. Very picky.
Picky eaters?
Yes.
I can't stand picky eaters.
Me either.
It's a huge turnoff for me.
True.
It really is.
Both of our white men are very good eaters. Both of our white men are very good eaters, not picky eaters. Yeah.
Thank God, right? Adventurous eaters.
Yes.
Like that's, but I couldn't be with someone otherwise. There's no way.
No
way.
There
is no way. There's no way. So anyway, this goes back to like, I guess my problem with hanging out with some kids is that they are picky eaters. They're not adventurous. So I have to be compromising.
Sure.
In that way. But with these kids, we're on the same page, baby. We eat the same thing. We like the same thing. We're talking about the same things. This kid asked me, yesterday, the 7-year-old was like, why are you asking me all these questions? And I was like, because I'm interested in your life. And he was like, oh, man. And I was like, what? He's like, okay, I'll ask you a few questions too then. And I'm like, what the hell? What an interesting response that is.
Yeah.
Like I don't know. Like I'm just a fan of these kids, and these kids really make me want to have a kid like this.
Of course.
That I could just clown around with. Like, it's like having a best friend.
Yeah. It is. It is.
Anyway, I know I'm preaching to the choir because you love your kid, but I
also have a child that is as an only sort of like because of the attention, 성격, like his eating stuff, like it's He's still
it matches your
yes,
life.
a little bit.
Style.
But my youngest, my daughter, no.
I mean, she just took her first steps. Give her a second.
But Sungkyuk,
Give her a brief
Sungkyuk,
second.
I can already tell her Sungkyuk is very different.
Really?
Yeah.
Like stubborn?
Stubborn, not embarrassed. Like when Saul was this age, we would be like, or like whatever, and he would immediately feel shame. This bitch feels no shame.
Uh-oh.
You're like, no, and she's like, again.
Yeah? Let's see.
Sungkyuk, like I'm just saying, like there's like shit that's like
she's pushing.
She's pushing. She doesn't like to eat some stuff. Like my son always ate whatever was in front of him. This bitch is very particular. So we'll see how much this rearing, how much this matters. You know what I mean?
Also, you might give in more to her, A, because she's a girl and she's beautiful and cute. And
no.
B,
I'm never telling my daughter she's beautiful.
You're tired.
I am tired, yeah.
You're tired. You're not as young and spry as you were when you were hanging out with Saul when he was a kid. Like you might just be. That's why the younger kids get spoiled like this.
Yeah.
Because the parents get fucking tired. They just say whatever. I give up.
But you know that there's like a Korean saying about there's like you have a hot hand. You know, like when you get slapped or like when you slap people, like you have a hot hand. Like there's like, I just feel like I used to have a very hot hand, and with age it's become very cool. Like I don't have the same fire or spark or like I'm not leaping to shit in the same way that I used to.
You can't, honey. No, the joints won't allow.
The reflex time is just a little.
The hip dysplasia alone.
All right, like my response.
Anyway,
time.
so that's been my top. What's your top this week?
My top. Oh man, I mean honestly, like I've been doing a lot of time with my children the last like month because of like the winter break, and then because of Martin Luther King, and then there was a snow day yesterday. I'm doing a lot of time with my children.
Fun. I love snow day. I miss snow days.
Yes.
Aww.
And I will say that my son is very much a regular boy and very much a regular like kid, but having spent a little more time with him, you know, like you were saying that moment where he was like, why are you asking me so many questions? Like this is one of the joys of being a parent, is that the sort of that experience you just had where you watch someone come online,
figure something out.
Yes, in fits and bursts. And and like you see them.
I know, I love seeing that.
Because you watch
with my
them,
nephews.
You watch them literally place shit into context in real time.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like, I'm just experiencing this thing. I'm a child, blah blah blah. And then they'll like something will catch them about something about the experience. Will like if you think about your like a sweater getting caught on a fence, you know, like something about it like catches it, and then they place all of the experience into context, and you watch them download and synthesize in real time.
Yeah. It's
very interesting.
It's so cool.
It is, because like at least with my son and him understanding dynamics, like getting some emotional intelligence, and like reading my husband for like not being forthcoming. Like my husband loves to say, I'm fine. I'm actually fine. Even though he's clearly not. Like, you know, one of these.
Avoidant.
Avoidant, or like, you know, it's like you're coming down in a huff like this. What's wrong? Nothing.
Yeah. Honey, you just shook your hips around.
Yeah.
You got a scowl.
What's wrong? Nothing. And my son, exactly. We're all like, and my son and I usually at this point, I've noticed this recently, right? So we kind of look at each other and like share a look. And this time my son just like straight up looked at my husband and was like, then why are you acting like that? And
the words that you can't say.
He's like,
he's your mouthpiece.
He's like, why are you acting like that? You're clearly frustrated, upset. And he's using the words we use with him, right? He's like, and my son looks at my husband and goes, maybe you should take a deep breath.
How is Max responding to this?
I mean, it was just like,
is he laughing or is he so embarrassed?
He's so embarrassed, right? And he's like, and
that's
it's
hilarious.
He's annoying to him, but it's like, you know, he's kind of said these things before, but like watching him digest like the thing and the dynamic and what happens and like him kind of
and then reuse it,
and also the fact that he spoke up for it, because the thing is, he was speaking up for himself in that instance, because usually we just all kind of like endure what happens, right? We're just
what that is,
and like him being pissed and like what's wrong, nothing, and then just sort of we all kind of like are enduring it. But in that moment, he advocated for himself, right? Because he's like,
and the family union.
Absolutely.
Because he was like, me and mom can't roll our eyes any further back into our skulls, honey, because it's gone around twice. And so we need to let this man know that he's stanking up the attitude. The atmosphere is stank.
Take a deep breath. Honey, take a deep breath. So like it was just like this sort of thing. Like it was 100%.
That is so funny.
And that's the shit where like you hope as a parent there's like a million of these, right? In a day where you just watch him like put into practice and execute
what you have bestowed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like it's wild to watch, because there's like a moment where
it's like programming. Like it's like being a software engineer. Like you're programming something to do something.
Yes.
And then you're seeing the program run. And
genetics, baby. There's some bugs that cannot be.
That's really cool.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's been a lot of that lately. I will say, like, you know, typically I have a lot of difficulty with this type of time, and you know, I'm like a pretty detached parent, I would say. I'm very involved, but like I'm pretty detached, and all this time, I don't know. It's been fun, and it's like it's cool to see, and watching your. Like the parenting that you've done and the groundwork for it kind of play out,
pay off.
Not, I mean, sometimes it's like sometimes not paying out. Sometimes it's not. Sometimes you'll watch it and be like, "Ooh, that was a mistake," and like you kind of watch it spiral out. That's fine, but all of it is like very much. I think this is the part where you're like, that's why with the second it's different, because like I'm seeing it in real time, the program, so to speak, like run, and so it makes me realize that the programming is that much more important,
that you ought to be more intentional.
Yes, because there's part of it with parenting that you feel like shit is inevitable or like really overwhelming, and you're like, well, and there is 100%, there's just some shit that you can't help. They're just going to be who they're going to be. I mean, there's no world in which, no matter what kind of parenting we had, Peter, that we wouldn't have been smart asses, that we wouldn't have been sort of gotcha, like, you know what I mean? There's just some shit that's baked in.
No, for sure. There are personalities.
Yes.
For sure. And that's like wholly kind of, I know what you mean. Like my nephews and nieces, to go back to them, like they were these kids early. You know what I mean? Like, you're just trying to like hopefully imbue a little positive sass. Like, why are you acting like that? Then why are you acting like that? Your words and your actions don't match up. Honey, take a breath. This is what we're... I'm a fan. I am a fan. All right, so moving on to my bottom of the week. I did get into a car accident.
Oh my God, Peter.
I'm okay. The other person's okay. It was fortunately not bad of an accident. It was, we were like going off the exit. The guy in front of him stopped short. I was distracted. I bumped into him.
Okay.
California's at fault state, so it is my fault. So anyway, the accident itself is shitty because the car's in the car's in the shop, and my partner takes the other car to work, to school. So like I'm homebound now, and that's a crazy feeling to be in Los Angeles.
Yes, you're trapped.
There is nowhere to go.
You're trapped.
I'm trapped.
There's
I feel
not even
like
sidewalks where you live.
no sidewalks, loose dogs running around, roosters. Like I mean, am
you're
in
close.
the jungle.
Yes, you're closest.
I'm in the jungle.
You're closest to like the free. You could be like one of those people that are walking along the highway.
I have to be now. That's the only way I can go anywhere. And this is why you see we live like this. There's no way around. But anyway, so it's been a few days and I'm going crazy. But I was thinking about the moment I got into that accident, we had to like stop in the right shoulder, and like exchange whatever, like car insurance information.
Of course,
yeah.
Is this the first?
Before that happens,
wait, is this the first accident you've ever been in LA?
Yes.
Okay.
Which is crazy for 6 years in LA, 7 years in LA. Like,
yeah.
And it was a minor fender, like truly not much to get done. A blinker got shot out, but whatever. Like it's an easy fix. But thank God. But I was sitting there and in the shoulder, and all these people are like zooming by.
Sure.
And they're staring at me,
mm-hmm.
and it's clear that I hit him.
Yes.
And they're all looking into, because we all do this, they're all looking into my window and making sure I look exactly like what they thought I was going to look like.
Did you have a ponytail? Because then they thought you were a lady.
I knew it was going to be an Asian woman. No, I mean, like, the Asian thing is real, and my face was burning red.
Of course.
Because I'm like, I can't believe this. Like, I'm an Asian man. Not just an Asian man, a gay Asian man,
mm-hmm.
a bottom, like getting into
everybody
causing an accident.
Well, Peter, you have to stop screaming that at people as they drive by.
I'm sorry, I'm a bottom.
Their stereotypes are hurtful.
And yeah, exactly. But I wish there was a way I could like write a sign or something. Like if there was like if every car came with like a big like sign that's explain the accident. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like so that when people are rubbernecking, they know like I was making a TikTok or whatever, like it's like
you want them to know that?
Like, yeah, it's not because I'm Asian.
That you want them to know that you're just being regular irresponsible, not because of your
not racially motivated.
I mean, truly, let me tell you.
I wanted to be able to explain, like, because I was looking at TikTok when I bumped into him.
I see. So what you want to say is
not looking at TikTok. I was checking my TikTok.
Okay. So you were like,
which is not better.
That's horrible. It'd be better if you held up a sign that's like, I was drunk. You know what I
mean? Yeah, it'd be way better.
I'm actually wasted, and this is.
You all just move it along. You know what drunk driving is. Keep it pushing. It was so fucking embarrassing, and like, I hadn't been in that kind of situation in a long time. So like, I really did have to like put my head down, and then there was a point where like I have to get out of the car and exchange the information, so everyone's watching us exchange information.
Yeah,
and the guy I hit was a Mexican guy in a BMW, so like. There was a moment where I was like, hey, so like, is this your information? Can I take a picture? And I like changed positions so that it looked like I was driving the BMW and he was driving my car. This is how much shame I'm carrying around.
I mean, let me tell you something.
That I have to be like,
Peter, let me tell you something. As a woman, an Asian woman who
is a bad driver.
Not only that, but I've been in a ton of accidents, and every accident I've ever been in, a lot of accidents.
Your fault.
All of them are my fault. I have never been in an accident that is not my fault, like insurance-wise. And I would say
I've been in your car. I believe it.
it's so rumpled. My car is so rumpled. But like, it's like, where'd that garage come from? But I would say that like, there's a part of his, that sort of shame is like, fuck, like it is, you truly are actually transgressing stereotypes. Because that's right, you're not a bad driver.
How so?
You're not a bad driver. You're just irresponsible.
But how do they know that? They don't know that as they are passing me by while I'm on the shoulder. Everyone's narrative is, ugh, how is he gonna be able to see with those eyes? You know what I mean? Like, driving around squinting, like.
Oh my God.
That's the narrative in their heads. Like, how do I subvert that and let them know that I'm just a fucking idiot?
This is where I think the sort of the boots on the ground sort of stuff that as Asian Americans we can do is get out there, become more fast, more furious, and we have to
and more Tokyo Drift.
And show, and like kind of like transgress these expectations. I mean, but truly, like it's, I don't know, how else we do that outside of like, because think about all of
being extra good.
Yeah, but also
at it.
But in most urban areas, all of the people that do drag racing and stuff like that are Asian. You know what I mean? Like I didn't know that Honda Accords didn't come with a spoiler until I was 21. Like
you're like, this is the basic package. At one point, my car's gonna lift off and fly.
Right, like, who's going to be the ludicrous that goes to the sky and goes to space?
Oh my gosh, speaking of ludicrous, I know this is like going off topic, but did you see the Katt Williams interview?
I'm so glad we're going to talk about it. Okay, so my bottom here, before we move on, my bottom is truly like how much time I spent researching Alex Earl and Xandra's friendship split. I did a deep dive into this on TikTok, and there's a lot of times where I'm ashamed of my behavior, like Peter with this fulfilling every single stereotype about Asian gay bottoms
with ponytails
who are obsessed with their own TikTok. Classic.
Their own TikTok analytics.
Classic.
Less irresponsible if I'm not just watching my videos over and over again.
I'm ashamed of my own behavior as a 40-year-old lady. I don't know, who has no business being in these white girls' business as much as I am. But my For You page is so Katt Williams forward right now. We must talk about it. Oh my God. We must
talk about it. Okay, let's get into it, because not only did I watch the episode on YouTube,
yes,
I went back and listened to it in parts in audio, because I'm psychotic and I'm just like going through it now.
Yes.
Okay, first and foremost, the way he came for every black man in comedy, may I one day do this to the Asians? Like, I just want to be the truth teller, the light bringer.
The person's like the grizzled detective that brings the light down onto like the suspect. Yeah.
It was so yummy. For those of you who haven't watched, please pause this and go listen / watch the clips or whatever on YouTube. He got on Shannon Sharp's
Club Shay Shay
podcast, Club Shay Shay. No one knew he had a podcast until Katt Williams did.
Oh, absolutely not, Peter. I have been a Club Shay Shay fan for many, many episodes. The podcast between Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco is maybe one of the funniest things that are currently on the internet. Rivals,
really?
Trixie and yes, very funny.
Oh,
very funny.
I'm just speaking for myself. I've never heard of it until Katt Williams, and I probably won't go back and listen to see anything. But the way Katt Williams stood there and pretty much ran the episode. There were moments where Shannon Sharp was saying absolutely nothing.
Yes.
He was like, oh, come on. No, come on. Oh, Katt. No. Why you gotta say that? Like, that's all you heard from Katt. Like, it was just Katt going the fuck off.
Yes.
And Katt Williams has been a comedian, amazing comedian for a long time, but I had heard that he was very generous and he was the kindest person on the road. Like, you hear from like black comics talking about that, but I didn't realize that he was so soulful and smart, and the stuff that he was saying outside of the gossip was just so introspective and beautiful.
Absolutely.
You know?
About his role as a black father, raising children. Yes, absolutely.
Being a nurturer.
Yes.
And and like, even at the point where he's like talking about athletes going up into strip clubs and tricking these ladies and blah blah, and he looked at Shannon Sharp and he was like, "Y'all are the problem.
Yeah.
Y'all are part of the problem." And Shannon was like, Oh, come on.
But I mean, Katt also very famously has made several of these. I mean, because I'm very interested and deeply embedded in thought, THOT culture. And hoe culture, and very specifically Instagram baddie culture. And Katt Williams is sort of famously like someone that brings home the hoe, and
he released his
yes, and he turns and he makes her his wife, long-term girlfriend, treats her very well, and then at whatever point turns them loose, etc. No, never nary a bad word.
Whole rehabilitation.
Yes, and then he lets them, and then there's never any beef. There's never it's very Lil Wayne and Superhead. There are certain sort of relationships and men in that sort of world that have very good reputations. Lil Wayne is one of them. Katt Williams is another. Right. Yes, he's kind of famous for this, and also even his. Go for it. Yeah.
No, yeah, mostly all of that stuff. You can tell because he talks about his upbringing in the church, and he was so fascinated with Christianity and the Bible, etc., and how he has kind of like a preacher's cadence. The way he repeats his things over and over again.
Oh, yes. I mean, anybody who's watched his specials, this is very much rooted in that. But a lot of black comedy is. He...
Yes.
Absolutely. It's rooted in that. Chris Rock is like that. Chris Rock, yeah. A lot of the cadences are taken from church. But Katt's... The way he's not really fucking around with, just the cadence. He's obsessed with being Christ-like. You know what I mean? He has a thing about giving, his thing about karma and why he anonymously gives money to comics. Yes.
Do you know about this?
Yes.
I was flabbergasted, and how I've looked into why he does it, and he's like, I'm not being a good person. I really do believe the mathematics of karma, and there are taxes you just have to pay. Mm-hmm. And that's the whole thing too. I bet why he rehabs hoes is this will bring good female energy back into my life. That I am doing this for women, that women will in turn help me and make my life better. And it's just it's interesting the way he took his super Christian upbringing and has turned it into his own philosophy in life, and specifically in comedy, which he looks at as a sport and very competitively. And he's looking at the most interesting thing he said in that interview was how when he was starting out, he wrote down every comic that was better than him, and he watched all their shows, and the only way he was going to be better than them was by having more laughs than them. So he went and counted every laugh in every minute and made sure that if he got more double than this person, he knew he was objectively better than them. And I was like, this is really speaking to me.
Well, I mean, he's biblical about it. He's biblical about wrath, about fortune, about what you are owed and what is owed to you, right? Like all of it is very just, and it must be rooted in some, and I think the chaos of the real world and show business can oftentimes to him feel, for that reason, incredibly chaotic, right? Because with the industry plants of it all, because he recognizes hustle, he recognizes grinding it out in the clubs. He understands what it is to just put in the goddamn blood, sweat, and tears. The work. And
but not just work that is like unquantifiable, like literally quantifiable work.
Yes.
And that really rang true to me, because I'm like, that's the only way you can really judge comic to comic to comic to comic.
It's not the only way, Peter. It's not the only way, but it is one way.
Only like, well, how else do you do it objectively?
About
Everything
laughs?
else is subjective. No, about their like comedian versus comedian. Like, because it's so subjective of I like them or you don't like them.
Yeah.
Like, there's no real way to judge two comedians next to each other minus laughs.
But what's
because
the
that's
audience?
An empirical data.
But what's the audience? Like, that's what I mean. Like, it's.
What do you mean? What's the audience? Like, who is the audience?
Do you think that like sometimes that there are some audiences that might respond better to X versus Y?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's just one way of doing it. Like, I think.
Give me another way.
Like, it's just not. Because let's say if it's not I will say this. I understand why he's doing this. It is also like, I don't know. I guess in my mind, I like to break it down so scientifically feels like there may be something lost in that sauce if that's how you walk away from it with. And I think that's just one way of approaching comedy is all I'm saying. Like, I don't say it's wrong.
No. I'm not saying that's the only way to do comedy, but if you're thinking of comedy as your sport,
yes,
and you're trying to get better than the other person,
yes,
how do you do that minus laughs?
You can't. I mean, that's
what I'm saying. Like that's where he's putting the work into it as like an empirical thing, not like Steve Harvey's funny, I'm funny, we're both funny. Like, that's not what he's saying. He's saying I do this many specials, this many tours, this many cities, this many laughs per joke per minute. Mm-hmm. And in this field, Steve Harvey has this many. So I can say that I'm a better comic.
Not available on Netflix or Tubi.
This is that's Cedric. That's Cedric.
No, he's talking about
Cedric.
Okay, yes.
He talked about Cedric's. He has 4 specials that are so bad.
Not available.
They're not available on Netflix
or Tubi. This is
the way he said that. Or he didn't have to say or Tubi. He could just have said Netflix and made the same point. Bitch had to say Tubi. He said not even Fubo has it. Okay.
I mean, that's going to be the name of my special. Not available on Netflix or Tubi.
The stuff he said about Joe Rogan, I mean, no one's saying that stuff. No one has the balls to be like, fuck Joe Rogan and his comedians he puts on that are not funny.
Yeah.
Like, and again, that's his point of view. But who else in the comedy world is brave enough to say something like that? Even someone who doesn't need to lose much or whatever. You know, like they just don't want to fuck around with 100 millionaire. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's what he's trying to say is that's he's saying like all of you are lining up to be minted in, and I'm clearly not going to get minted in, so I get to say whatever the fuck I want.
Because Katt's always been free. And he
will never not be free.
He's always free. And he's
anti-establishment.
Yes. And he's also, I mean, the beef with him and Kevin Hart has been long-standing.
Incredible.
The Breakfast Club stuff where Kevin goes in on Katt and with Tiffany next to him. Have you ever seen that? It's like where he goes. Yes. So, you know, this is like part of it is also Katt is Katt. Katt is free. Katt has nothing to lose. And really like very little to gain. Like he just tours. Like he's a big fucking act. He doesn't need to do this. His own personal life philosophy, I will say, you know, it sort of...
He doesn't have that much money.
No.
He talks about that. He's like, I don't care.
He has enough.
And that's what he's saying. And he has enough.
And that's the thing. This is something that doesn't exist in late stage capitalism and in our culture. The idea of enough.
Of being full.
Pushing away from the table.
Being satiated.
Being full, pushing away from the table and saying, you know what, I'm going to save room for dessert.
I'm okay.
I'm full.
Self-control.
Yes.
We don't have it.
But I mean,
it's so refreshing to hear him say that a man in comedy that every comedian respects.
Sure.
That doesn't bow to the gatekeeping. In fact, the gates have told him, don't come around here.
The Illuminati thing about him versus Ludacris?
Hilarious! And then if you get in, you'll get a weird face light-skinned woman who won't ever do an interview. And then if you see all the YouTubes, they show the montage of all of them. I mean, and none of them we know the name of.
Absolutely not.
I can't tell you who Eddie Murphy's married to. Kevin Hart?
No. Kevin. Yeah. I know Kevin's now. She's like half Asian. And then Eddie's, post scary, I don't know anyone. But, yeah, like.
Anyway, it's just so funny. And of course, he's being hyperbolic in so much of it. And that's what he is. He's a comic. He's going to be fucking stupid about it.
Exactly. He's being stupid about it. He's
colonel.
It's the way that he's kind of like, even this, and this is what's funny is like, I don't know if you noticed during the interview how often he was rubbing his hands over it.
Yes.
Because if you look, he's maintaining the rhythm. Mm-hmm. Instead of tapping his feet, that's what's keeping time, is him doing this. And he kept the rhythm, kept the cadence, kept the rhythm of what he was saying. And it must be something that helps him think.
He's also...
Yeah.
Yes, he's thinking, because Shannon, not the sharpest, okay? Tooling the shed.
He's been a football player for a long time. Come on, yeah.
I'm not saying he has CTE, but he's acting like it.
Yes,
now,
yes.
Katt is running circles around Shannon, so much so that he is able to write his own setups to his jokes.
Yes.
And I think that's what he's doing. That's what you're saying is, right? Like, he's like 3 to 4 steps ahead of Shannon. So while Shannon's, and I don't know if you heard this, but like the way he interviews, let's say the question is, why do you like the color black? Mm-hmm. The way Shannon asked the question is, so Katt, what? Tell me about this color black. Like, why do you love it so much? Because you really say you love it so much. And, we all know about how much you love it. But for the audience, like, what is about the color black that you love so much, Katt? Like, what? Tell us what's the black about?
We are all
he
born.
Takes forever to get to the fucking question. So he's sitting there going,
and Katt's like, we were all born in darkness.
Once you stop,
yes. Once we're all born into darkness, and so this is when you think about it, we're all living in the dark. And then we're not actually alive.
And we will once return to the dark. So let there be light. You know, there's just like,
and and it's like to me, I think that, you know, if you've ever seen if you've never watched Katt Williams, any of his specials, I highly encourage you to do that. It is truly like listening to music. It's so deeply funny. I mean, you know, I've been listening
in the car, and it's so crazy because in my car, like the other day, I was listening to his album. I guess it was on shuffle for some reason, so it was off. Not in order. So it's like 2 to 3 minute bits.
Yeah.
And the amount of times he pounds the phrase in this one, life is too short, have some motherfucking fun.
Yes.
That's the preacher in him. It's like he's delivering a thesis and he's saying, this is proof why this thesis is right. This is another reason why thesis is right. He's like, again, going back to writing essays till we die, like he is doing a 5-part essay and giving us a conclusion, a callback, and then it's an act out, and we're done. And now we're dying.
And also giving us a good time, having the punchlines.
First and foremost.
First and foremost. Like if you're doing it in the club, if he's doing it in a theater, if he's doing it in an arena, he is giving you the punchline.
Buffoonery. One of the funniest things Katt Williams has ever done is not even saying anything. He sets up this joke about how people are crazy. People are acting nuts these days. Like, did you hear about this kid who got eaten by a tiger? And then we all got like upset by the tiger. Do you know this bit? And then he sets up this whole thing about this tiger not being like a zoo ass, bitch ass, punk ass tiger. This is a real tiger from Africa.
Yeah.
You know, one of those motherfuckers that'll eat a giraffe before it's dead. And he jumps on the stool and starts eating the stool as the lion. And he's wrapped his tiny legs and arms around the stool as the lion eating this fake giraffe. And it goes on for so long. And I'm like, and people are fucking dying because he's not only set up this payoff, but like he understands his 5'5" ass wearing this blingy ass shit with his beautiful luxurious hair is gonna look so dumb and goofy trying to act like this. I mean, it's just mastery.
It's showmanship inside of that space. It's just there's no one doing it at that level that masterfully with total control over it. But you know,
like depth.
Absolutely. I mean, I think some of it is like with him being an outsider, there's a part of him that's so fundamentally outside of the mainstream for sure, but also that is much more like a callback to like a throwback to like a different era of comedy where it was like truly like just like Road Dogs, like people that made a ton of money, like Ron White was like that, Kathleen Madigan, like people that was not in the mainstream culture. Big theater acts.
Bill Engvall.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like just people, big theater acts that just brought it. And every year when they came through town, the people would bring another person. Another person. You're going to love this girl. You're going to love this guy. He's so funny. And it didn't need to be other social media shit. It didn't need to be the sort of like relevancy that was required of you. It was just, he's good. And every year he comes back with new shit. And
and people are coming out to see him and bringing a friend, buying some popcorn, doing well for the theater
drinks,
arena,
getting
whatever
the
babysitter, so the arena's getting back.
Absolutely. And that's how, and that's like a part of it.
We don't have a lot of that anymore.
I mean, that's
the other side is Matt Rife.
This is what I'm saying. And I think that's what is so refreshing about it is because he's kind of like, I don't fucking care. He's also old enough.
He's literally never made a post about his show. That's what he told Shannon. Like, I don't do marketing. And I'm not trying to be, like, conceited about it. I don't do it. I don't have to go out and be like, come on to my show, please. I don't do radio shows. I don't do none of this shit because people know who the fuck I am. And if you see my name, you're coming to the show.
Because you know it's a good time. You know it's a good time.
Hello. I don't need to convince you. I mean, it really was empowering to watch that entire 3.5 hours.
I mean, it's wild. I mean, it's really also a masterclass. It's the best
stand-up you're gonna watch this year. It really is.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, you really are.
A masterclass in roasting, a masterclass in toasting, right? Because he brings
the
people
reads. Dorit.
Because he's roasting, but he's also toasting. Like, he's bringing people up. He's calling people out. He's like, he is doing all of it. And it's also what's crazier is that he's doing it and Shannon is just like being along for the ride.
Oh,
he's being
Shannon
dragged.
was getting stomped on. Yeah,
he's being
for
dragged
real.
underneath the car, and
he
he's
had no idea what show it was, where he was, what time it was. It was embarrassing.
I mean,
to
but if you've ever watched Katt in any sort of interview, I feel like that's pretty par for the course. Like any Breakfast Club, he's
the star.
Yes, and he's rolling over people because there is like the rhythmic thing to it, and so if you're not drumming on beat, you're out of the band.
You're getting it. You are. Yes. Yeah, you invite Katt for a reason. You don't invite Katt so that you look funny. You invite Katt so that your show gets elevated, and he knows that's his job. That's such a fucking. That's what I'm bringing into 2024, is that kind of energy, because it truly, like, it's so hard for us out here to do comedy without everything else being involved, i.e. Soch. And may my work speak for itself.
Alleluia. Amen.
Amen.
Godspeed.
And we'll see you next week.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.